So, the strategy that I am adding on here is a really easy strategy for you to be able to incorporate at home. I am leaving you the links so that you can see it being modeled, and I'm just going to give you the gist, or I'll try to explain it as much as possible, but you'll have videos. This is a strategy where you take that experience you had and you talk through it. You talk to your child, like, let's walk through what we did. And of course, if you can do this in Spanish, that's better. But if you're not able to do this in Spanish, you can do it in English and then do the writing in Spanish with your child's guidance. But I'm thinking you speak Spanish, so I would recommend that you do this process in Spanish. So you would be saying, what did we do? Let's walk through the steps that we took, or let's walk through the experience we just had. So let's assume that she's telling you, oh, we bought a recipe book, or we found a recipe. Okay, encontramos la receta de unas galletas. Vamos a escribirlo. You write it. Encontramos, or mi mamá y yo encontramos la receta de unas galletas. Second step is, let's read it together. Mi mamá y yo encontramos una receta de unas galletas. Okay. Después, ¿qué hicimos? After that, what did we do? Oh, we found the ingredients. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice en español? Encontramos los ingredientes. Okay, encontramos los ingredientes. And you're just having her repeat the sentence, and then you are going to write it. Encontramos unos ingredientes, or los ingredientes. Okay. Then you read it together. And you read the whole thing again, like the two sentences that you have now. And so slowly you're adding sentences, and each time you add a sentence, you go back and read everything together. So you're practicing the reading. But remember, the speaking comes first. So you're having conversations about just what you did, and you're forming those sentences together. Oral language is so important, especially with the little ones. It's important for all ages, but especially when they're learning a second language. So important for all ages. But with the little ones, you're building all this oral language before they're able to write it out. So highly recommend this strategy. It's one of the easy ones to do at home. It's called the language experience approach. So you're combining the two things, the authentic opportunities for your students to use the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You're modeling the language, and then you're incorporating the reading and the writing. Now, once you've created that paragraph or whatever you have done, you can do so much with that. You can have your child create their own books, right? Basically, like build their own little library, home library, so then they could that could be part of their reading, of their daily reading. They could also extend to whatever you wrote together. So games that involve practicing vocabulary are really helpful. Something that's really helpful is to do sort of thematic games. So for example, maybe if you're creating your own bingo games, you could do like all about weather words, or all about birthday parties, or something that's relatable to your child. And then this is the example I was giving you, like the follow a recipe. Just having a purpose for reading, or a purpose for writing, or a purpose for talking. All right, so those are just some examples. Highly recommend just talking to your kids. Reading books that are relatable to them, but also exposing them to cultural aspects. So I left you a couple of other links. Colorín Colorado has amazing resources for parents. They have reading materials, they have research. Like, there's just a wealth of knowledge there that would be really helpful. So I left that there, and I left the image in case you just want to Google it. But bilingual books that connect your child to their cultures, and Scholastic is a great resource. Here's just an example. This book, Loteria, it's both in English and in Spanish. And this is a book that I used a lot with my little ones. They connected with it, and then it encouraged them to keep reading it. And so they were practicing those skills. So try and find books that your kids can connect to. But with Scholastic, there are collections of bilingual books. And then something that I really wanted to share with you is the parent and guardian rights. So I'm gonna click on it, but before I click there, I wanna tell you about PBS Kids. There are interactive games that would be really more like age appropriate for your first grader. So highly recommend that. there's just something about um, the age appropriateness, right? So like while Duolingo is great, I use it myself for learning a third language. Um, it is, and my teenagers use it and everything. I would just kind of worry that um, your child might get discouraged because it might just not be as interactive for them. So just, I mean, look into it. That might be okay, but also like don't just do that. Include games, interactive games for them. So let me click on the parent guardian rights, and it's both in English and Spanish. So I'm linking you to this right so that you can see here on right number 13 and 14, you can see that you have the right to request continuation of bilingual or ESL program services once your child has been reclassified. So it sounds like your child was reclassified, I'm assuming, because a child cannot be pulled out of the program without the LPAC committee meeting and looking at test scores from your child, right? So there is a reclassification criteria. Let me pull it up. So TEA gives you a lot of resources as well. So this is the reclassification criteria chart. Your child was in first grade or is in first grade, so that means that she was, well, I have some questions for you because typically we don't reclassify in kinder. So if your child was in kinder last year and she was reclassified at the end of kinder, then I have some questions. The chart shows us how reclassification begins in first and up. So they